Hey guys, this is something that I wanted to share with you that I've been working on recently. Like as I'm sure you've noticed, there's been like a real lack of videos like coming out from me, and as well if you're in some of my projects, because I've got so many different projects going on. I've been really focused on trying to get like organized, build out systems, both through like automations, but just general systems for my like life and productivity to I don't know, to sort of like trim the fat, I guess I would say to have like a very like lean life, very like directed in terms of what I'm working on every day. And I stumbled across this guy called August Bradley who had this system that I've actually just like copied this off and then just adjusted it to my own use. This isn't my own idea. I'll put a link to his channel in the description, so he's definitely worth checking out if you're interested in like productivity and almost just like organizing not just business but like your entire life as well. Um, so this is a system that he calls like pillars, pipelines, and vaults. So I'll just give like quite a quick overview and how I've like customized it to fit my requirements. So it sort of works in like a pyramid structure where the pillars of your life are like the sort of things that they're like your overall life aspirations, like what you want to achieve. So it can be both business related, it can be personal. In fact, it's just about your life in general. So maybe if your goal was to make $1 million, then a business would come in like a sub project of that, right? It's a means to making that money. Or if your goal was to get a six pack, then like a project would be to like go to the gym every day and to eat clean and drink 4 liters of water. Or yeah. So the pillars are like what type of person do you want to be, and where do you want to take your life through to. So you sort of work through to it in this process. I don't want to open all of them up because there may be some, I don't know, confidential or like private information. I can't actually remember what I've put in there now. But like the guiding principle is sort of where what is like the overall purpose of your life? What type of person do you want to be? What are the real like goals, long-term goals that you have? Review cycles, how often do you want to review it? And then I've got like milestones for my various companies. This is just something nice I can open and like check off. Like when we hit a certain goal in MRR, it's nice to check off that certain milestone. And then the pillars are sort of taken from there and put into various different categories. So I can actually show you my pillars is like YouTube, business, personal finance, home and household, health and fitness, mental well-being, travel, and personal growth. They're like the key categories of my life that I'm interested in. Like interested in investing my time and resources into, basically. Um, and then if you come down to like goal outcomes, so I have my like my pillars there. Like what is it that I want to achieve from this? What is like my goal outcome? So um as you can see, you sort of start off with like a very broad thing of like this is what I want to achieve in life, and it like pyramids down into smaller sections. So then I can write out like the steps to achieving this. And then this is where it gets like really interesting. So the projects are the list of projects that I have going on currently. And then action items is like the bottom part of the pyramid. They're like the daily actions I take in order to complete my projects, which are linked to my goal outcomes, which are linked to my pillars and goals in life, basically, in terms of the type of person that I want to become. So you're working from like sort of actionable small steps, but it all links back up to your goal outcome. Sorry, your like goals in life. So this I found this like a really good way, sorry, to make sure that everything that you do is always very closely aligned with your goal outcome. It means that you're not wasting any time. So I have like this is like the overall like command center, but this is where you spend like most of the time. So these are all of my tasks today that are linked in to my projects. So I have like my projects here, and originally I've actually changed this a little bit now. So originally I had like projects, so you have each of your businesses here, but I've actually decided to change this. So I'm customizing this to now work in sprints. So I will dedicate like 5 days to a particular sprint. For example, conversion rate optimization. There's like a team of 2 people that I'll be working with on this that will dedicate just to conversion rate optimization that week, and then the week after we'll move on to something new. So that is then related to a um like what one of my goals. So we'll be doing sprints on each different area. So that applies to business, and then in like my other spare time I can work on like my other projects, right? And then every time I tick off a task in my like daily zone, it shows the percentage closer that I am to completing that particular project. So this is like a action zone. Like you just spend all your day here ticking off, sorry, just clicking done on various different tasks. So that is like a basic overview. And like now you're probably just thinking that this is sort of a I don't know, something like Trello or Sansama or like Todoist or anything like that, but it's not. This is where it gets like really interesting. This information is hosted in a database, like called a relative database, maybe sorry, a relational database, maybe something that we've used before in Airtable. So any information that is here is related to information that I have elsewhere. So the thing that I really like about this is not only, so this section like keeps you completely aligned, because if you can't match up a task to one of your outcome goals, like if I open a task here, I should be like aligning it to what everything that it's related to. To my project, this is related to like Talk Rocket, which I know is related to business, and it automatically goes up the pyramid, right? Um, if you can't align it to a task, it's just telling you straight away that you're like wasting time. So if you can't align it directly to like a project or to a sprint, it tells you that you're wasting time in it. So it's a really easy way to keep you aligned. But so the really interesting thing about it though is, or the thing that I really like anyway, is the knowledge vault. So if you're anything like me, I have tons of information. Like I've spent, how long have I been doing marketing now? Seven years. Yeah, I started when I was about 18, so yeah, 7 years. And when I first got into marketing as well, I was just like a sponge of information, just taking, all I was doing is learning. So I taught myself, right? I didn't go to school or university. I was just absorbing information from everywhere that I could and then testing it on my businesses. And this information is like spread all over the place. I've got like notebooks that I used to just take notes from when I was reading books or listening to YouTube videos or reading like forums. I've got bookmarks. I've got about 1,200 bookmarks in my Chrome thing. Um, Also, I've got stuff in Notion, I've got stuff in Trello, I've got stuff in Sansama, various other different note-taking apps that I've used like over the years, where there's just like a wealth of information that I've spent a lot of time and extracted like the key points of what I wanted to learn about. But the problem with that is that it's all spread out everywhere. Like I said, it's all in these notebooks, which I've got no idea where they are. Like I'm sure I could find them if I looked for them, but I mean, it's not accessible information, right? And your brain only has like a limited capacity, unfortunately. Um, so what this does is you have your workspace vault. And these are all subjects of information that I am interested to learn about, or that I have knowledge in, or that I'm, yeah, looking to explore, and they're relevant to things that I'm working on now. And I'm just trying to think of, so like conversion rate optimization, for example. In this thing, I have a load of notes and information. I'm in the process of migrating all my information over currently, which is why there's not so much here. Um, it's going to take quite a while, but once it's done, it's going to be well worth it. Now I have this. So to this, any time that I tag a task with conversion rate optimization in my action zone, anything that I tag with conversion rate optimization, it's going to automatically link to that database, this task, and all of the information is visible when I open the task. So if I have a task on anything and I link it into that task, like related to Workspace, and I tag it as like Google Ads, for example, or conversion rate optimization or Facebook ads, all of that information then it's just one click away. All of the knowledge and resource that I've accumulated over the years through tests, through spending, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars on advertising and or hundreds of thousands even, sorry, I spent about $500,000 this year, um, is brought into one central like resource that is then available for me to use, or even not even just for me, for if I like scale out the team, it means all of the knowledge that I've accumulated is there for the whole team to have accessible. So this is like, in my opinion, it's completely game-changing stuff. And it completely changes the way that you work. So it's going to take a little bit of time for you to set up because you have to have various different relational databases. Um, I'm not going to make any content on how to actually do this because this guy August Bradley has done it already. And I don't want to take any credit for what he's doing. This is completely like his system, and he actually explains it a lot better than I do. I've just taken the idea and I've adjusted it in a few places to really like fit my workflow. Um, but the thing that is like really interesting as well is I always struggle um, to like adopt project management tools into my life. For example, Trello. Like I I like it, it serves a purpose, but I can't fit it into my workflow for whatever reason. It just doesn't really work for me. Sunsama I really like the UI is like fantastic, and they have like a Trello integration, so you can put in all of your tasks and various different projects into one central system, which is another thing that I do really like. However, I'm not able to stick with it for whatever reason. It doesn't stick within my workflow. Whereas this, because I've built it myself, I've taken someone else's idea, but I've built this. I have added together all of the different relations and customized it to completely fit my workflow. There's a sense of ownership there, which meant that if you own something, you're far more invested in it, right? Which means it has naturally just become a part of my day-to-day workflow very, very easily. There was no, um, I don't know, friction at all because I've built this for one sole purpose. And another point that I forgot to mention earlier is the thing that I've been like struggling with is being having a tool that can consolidate all of my different businesses together when I'm working on various different things. Like Trello, okay, you can have different Trello boards, but it's very disconnected. Really, like let's be honest, there's no connectivity between it. Um, and it means that you constantly have to navigate around all of these different Trello boards, or if a different business is using a different project management tool, you have to go and check there, and it's a real pain. Um, whereas this has all of my projects together and all of it's all in this centralized to-do list. So I have I have tasks from various different projects all showing here based on when they are due, what the due date is. So there's a different, like this is the due date and this is the due date. So this is the date that I have to do things by, right? And I just spend all day just going through these tasks and just ticking them off one at a time. Another, like this isn't actually directly related to this, but another tool that I quite like, again, but it's something that I talk about. It's difficult to get into my workflow, so I do really like it. I am more productive when I use it, but I don't always use it. It's just a little Pomodoro timer. The name is Session. If you have a subscription with Setapp, it's included in that. If you haven't got a subscription with Setapp, I definitely recommend that you get one. It's like $9 per month for 130 Mac apps. So but this is it's like it's a really simple tool, and you just start a little timer, and it keeps you very focused on what you're doing. You can also this took a while to set up as well, but you can um, oh, it's actually disappeared. I built a little plugin where you can keep this afloat at all times, so it appears on top of all windows. So yeah, it's just a little countdown timer. Um, Anyway, um, yeah, and so back to where I was, and then if you come down here, because Notion is very like flexible, I've got like my entire calendar here, which is literally just another view of this database, which shows me all of my upcoming tasks. Like, I think you'll all be very pleased to know today we're focusing purely on YouTube videos, which is yeah, which is great. And then that's calendar as well, and that needs editing. So this is still like a working process, but I showed this to my friend yesterday, and he said I should get this up on YouTube. So I just thought I'd make a video, and I can sort of update you with any changes that I make. And because you have complete flexibility over this to do whatever you want, it's sort of infinitely possible where you can go with it. The only downside about this is that Notion don't have an API currently, but they're making one, which is good. And also just to explain where our information is all coming from, there's two other things that I've built. We have like the Media Vault. So this is like an audio book called Sprint that I'm listening to currently, and it's tagged as productivity. So if I just open this, let's say I'm listening to the audiobook whilst I'm working. Whenever I have a new, like these are some of my notes from the audiobook, but whenever I have something really interesting that I want to add into my like productivity workflow or anything like that, I can just tap new note. So I just need to add in here, like because it can be related to anything, we could do this automatically actually. I can just add in productivity, and any note that I leave here is going to be added into our productivity vault down below that contains all the information of all of the resources that we've ever read, listened to, or worked on, or notes that we have related to productivity, if I can find it. So yeah, it's now added automatically. I can then just drag it out and turn it into, I don't know, text and all of the information, and we can start to build up like a resource, like a vault of information on this particular subject. So all of this stuff is like these are only things on my bookshelf as well. I've got a load of other resources that I want to read, so we can have like different statuses similar that we do to in Airtable. And then any notes that I take on these things that I plan to read will automatically be added into the correct workspace, right? So if you want if you are going to build out something like this, a little thing that you can do is that I found there's a little plugin here. So let's say I wanted to document let's say I wanted to document this page. Rather than having to copy and paste it in every time, I can also take a note and idea from anywhere, but we'll just make a new media link. Status is on the bookshelf. Category is related to growth hacking. Type is blog post, and that will now automatically add it into my media vault of things I want to read. You see it here now. So it's just a nice little workflow for collecting like resources, and then when I have time, like I can just go through and like read them. Like usually on the weekend, I'll spend a bit of time on like learning and resources. Um, yeah, and so like that can also take like videos or PDF attachments, like if it's an ebook or like whatever it may be. Um, This is also my like resources vault that also gets added into whatever um, thing is down there. So if we have like software or I don't know anything related to resources, it will also get added into like the actual workspace vault. Another thing that I built out, this was actually like my own idea. It's not actually finished yet, but what this will do is if um, let me just come back into our knowledge vault. Sorry. So if we come down here, if the type here contains video, it will automatically be added into a toggle list here. Like I'm really trying to reduce the amount of time that I spend watching like Netflix and YouTube, not so much because mostly I watch productive things on YouTube, but definitely Netflix or just watching like films and um like now, I don't know, I almost find that Netflix doesn't really have any like content that I want to watch, and I'm almost searching through for something to force myself to watch it. So I know it's a bad habit that I have and I'm trying to break. So instead, what I'm going to do is download a load of resources into videos related to subjects I'm interested in. It can be documentaries, it can be courses, it can be YouTube videos. You don't even have to download them, by the way. You can just embed a link. Um, and have them split up into different categories. So this will be pulled in dynamically from the Knowledge Vault. Anything that has the tag video will automatically come into our Netflix for Learning. So I'm going to try and make this like the default. I'm going to try and break my habit of watching Netflix for me to come into this page and watch content from here that is educational and is actually useful for me. So also, I haven't got the camera on now, but you can, like Notion has their own iOS app, and you can make like widgets. So I can make one for Netflix and make it like a big button and then delete Netflix from my phone. So that would be quite an easy way to break that habit of when I feel like watching something instead, just click on that button and play and play the content through the Notion app, because it's all going to be uploaded there. So that's the other cool thing about the system, is obviously it is cloud based. So no matter where I am in the world or whatever device I'm on, this information is always accessible to me. So I'm pretty sure the next question, if I have explained this clearly, I'm not quite sure that I have, but yeah, it's very interesting. I definitely recommend checking out August Bradley's channel, and maybe he can explain it a lot better than I can. Essentially, all we have is a lot of different databases for our projects, for our resources, for our principles in life, and they're all interconnected, which tells us how well we're doing towards a goal and keeps us aligned with our overall life goals. Um, yeah, I'll link to the video below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And this has just been something that I've been building to like optimize my like productivity and workflows to make sure that I am able to get the tasks done that I need for all of my different projects without feeling stressed and overwhelmed. This is really like systemizing everything into really clear outcome-driven tasks for my projects that then align with my overall life goals. So yeah, I will leave it there, and like you can even see my to-do list today. So I'm making a lot of videos on LinkedIn and growth hacking to help people out there. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. As always, any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will get back to you. Take care and goodbye for now.